Welcome back to the Second Lunch Podcast. It's just me and Cole today. We had a good guest last episode. We got a good one coming up, but it's just you and I today. Cole, if you had to wear any kind of hat other than a baseball hat, what hat do you think you'd pull off best?
This is a brilliant question. It really, because I don't even think I can pull off the baseball hat. So this is a.
I've never seen you wear a hat of any kind.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I don't feel like I can pull it off. I have a couple. Now, one, I'm going to start with a cop out just because I do feel like this is, I'd say the beanie in the winter months, I think people can kind of naturally. That's not a crazy one, but I think you're talking about like non-seasonal.
My answer is top hat. I saw somebody wearing a bowler hat on purpose, like it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a bit. They were like wearing a bowler hat, and I was like, "Fuck, good for you, man." He's kind of pulling it off. He had a mustache, some circle frame glasses. We all know who I'm talking about. We know what neighborhood this person was in. This is a hipster
Georgetown.
in Cap Hill.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, Georgetown. yeah, exactly. And I was like, "Fuck, man, I wish I could never." I was thinking about it. I was like, "I'd like to wear a bowler." I owned a bowler hat at one point. But I already have a round face. I don't need extra round. It'll make my head look even bigger and rounder. I'll look like a bobblehead. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, well then what's kind of the opposite of that? Top hat. That's my answer. Top hat.
Top hat's
big,
better.
Big, long. It'll kind of elongate my face is what I'm hoping. It'll make me look a little bit rounder than circular.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the bowler hat or the trilby, either one of those, it's so associated with like libertarians for me now that it's like you gotta those guys are not bathing and they got to pull off a weird, like I couldn't do it. And to your point about the sort of round face, like, yeah, I would look like Fatty Arbuckle. I would look like a 19.
Do we even need to go with Fatty Arbuckle? It tells us what we need to know.
What a name.
If you could pull off it, if you could wear any hat and be able to pull it off, if that was your superpower, no matter what hat you put on, you could pull it off, what would it be?
Probably sombrero.
Yeah, you could pull off a sombrero.
I mean, I think that
I want to get you a sombrero now. I just pictured you standing at a barbecue. The UFC fights on the TV in the yard.
Yeah, it's got to have the little. I got to cinch it up, just in case conflict breaks out. Don't want to lose your hat.
Oh man, my answer is, those hats that like old Italian men wear. The kind of like white straw hat with a little bit of fabric that goes around.
Oh, like a pork pie hat?
I don't know what the fuck it's called, but that's what
I think that's what you're describing.
That's what has
Buster
really
Keaton.
gotten me started on this whole even giving a shit about hats.
Yeah, obviously we're gonna keep talking, but I am very curious if this is the one that you're talking about. It's what Buster Keaton used to wear.
It's not fedora, but then what's the other one that people wear that it's like, I guess it's a hat, but it has like no structure outside of that. It's like kind of flat and just looks like too much fabric kind of going off to one side with a little thing sticking up on top.
Yeah, I'm not.
You would think of a Parisian artist wearing this.
So this is the pork pie hat that Buster Keaton used to wear.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, it's like a little bit flat brimmed, and not as that's a good one. I feel like the pork pie. You could pull off a pork pie.
We've really gotten lost on hats this world. There's not many hats out there anymore. We've all kind of narrowed it down to baseball hat.
True. But to that extent, too, I'd say the same is true of pants. Like there, of course, many exist. But if you're wearing pants, a lot of the time, it's going to be denim jeans. Like, I mean, of course, there are slacks. And
what happened to pantaloons?
I was watching old golf shit, and Payne Stewart, he used to wear the, rest in peace, he used to wear the +4s. Which are like the knickerbockers, like what you picture in your mind with like plaid, and then at the knee, it like tucks into the sock, and it's this big billow. It's so fucking stupid, but I'd love to try to pull that off at like a Nine Inch Nails concert. Like not in my normal day job, I think that's too much, but at a concert, it's like everybody be yourself. Like, yeah, dude, today myself is being like a golfer from the 19th century, apparently.
What are the skirts that Irish people wear? No, it's not Irish.
Scottish? Are you talking about kilts?
Yeah, kilts. There we go. Thank you. You'll see a kilt here and there.
Yeah, I think that the kilt, I mean, obviously you got folks with their cultural heritage pride, but I think in many ways it's not the most practical lower body garment.
Tell me something more practical.
things with pockets, but they didn't make the what was the local company Utilikilt? Did you ever see those?
No.
I don't know if they still exist, but they basically were like kilts that had like the built-in pockets, and they also had like kind of like a tool belt. I mean, it was a bit of a gimmick, but it did add some practicality to the kilt route.
I'm just gonna say it. I think it makes more sense for women to be wearing pants and guys to be wearing stuff with more. We got more things that need air.
You're saying
Can
we
get
got
swampy
overly
quick. So I like the idea.
Yeah, anything that, because once it hits 70 degrees, I'm a problem. I'm a sweaty problem.
What would have to happen for you to wear a kilt?
Oh, I don't know. Fall of civilization, probably. Not because I'm opposed to it, like fundamentally. It's more the perception of the guy wearing the kilt in the 21st century,
Okay,
especially when you're not even Scottish.
This is a safe space. Everybody's had 3 beers.
I'm not even Scottish, so it's like, oh, I'm going to be a kilt guy now. Why? For who? For what? Who is this for?
For air on your balls. Okay, what about a toga? What would have to happen for a toga?
Listen, the ball air clothing that I was raised with is you grab some sweatpants, you cut them off, you go commando, and you just let the nuts fly out Mike style. The first time, and we're going to get a little dark here for a second, but when he overdosed the first time, his heart rate or respiratory rate down to like 3 per minute. Not good.
Jesus.
We're getting close to, so, you just get the guy out as quickly as possible and you're not necessarily worried. Well, I know for a fact that he was only in the cutoff sweatpants, shirtless, and they had to get into his little bedroom and stretcher his ass out. And he was also a little heavy at that point, so it was probably a bit awkward. And I've always pictured them clumsily taking him down the front steps in the stretcher, feet first, and his balls are just absolutely out for the neighbors to see, because they were out half the time when he was trying for him not to be out. Now he's unconscious. No chance those things weren't flying. And you got to keep a straight face, but you're an EMT. I imagine that you're like, that's kind of
Weren't
funny.
even the first balls they'd seen today.
Exactly. It's just recipe for disaster,
I've always been a little jealous of people with a low sack because mine are high and tight. I've never had that problem.
Well,
if anything, they're trying to go back up into the little chutes they came out of. You know what I mean?
I think for Mike, it was, being raised in Alaska, anywhere else climate-wise was going to be an extreme. This is too much heat. So the balls are just loose.
You're saying because he was in Alaska, they were high and tight.
Yeah,
but now
once
they're
upon
like,
a
oh
dream.
shit, we can go anywhere.
Oh, we're plowing fields, baby. It's August in St. Louis. Dude, that guy, he's
This guy's
batwinging.
dragging sack.
Dude, yeah, never heard any of his girlfriends, luckily, it would be kind of weird, talk about his dick, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of them's like, love the balls. Just enormous. Just absolutely.
Pretty amusing. It seems like it'd be a lot more fun to... Anyway. Speaking of birthday suits, just had my birthday last week.
Happy birthday.
April 1st is a bullshit birthday to have. I'll tell you that much.
I wouldn't fault you for just telling people your birthday was April 2nd.
I just don't mention it. And then every year, and I'm not going to blame people for making the connection, but every year people are like, April Fool's birthday. That's the perfect birthday for a guy like you.
You've always been a joker.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's one of those ones that anytime somebody looks at your ID, they comment on it. So it's like, I just have to hear about it.
I didn't think
But the
about
worst
that.
part was like when I was a kid, I'd go to school and I'd be like, hey guys, it's my birthday. And we'd be like, yeah, okay.
Sure.
I'd be like, no, seriously, I brought cupcakes. But I was also the fat kid. So like, you fucking always have cupcakes.
You told me it was your birthday 3 times last month?
Yeah, you haven't proved anything.
The correlation causation ain't lining up for me, dude.
But I got to eat all the cupcakes, so.
I mean, if they're going to be that stubborn, then fuck them. They don't get any cupcakes. You don't want to believe it's my birthday. No, one silver lining. It does sound like a bullshit holiday to have your birthday on, but it is an easy one for people to remember and get you stuff. Because if you just have a random day in the middle of the month, it's hard.
Good point.
We're 35.
I have a lot of
basically.
people that I don't otherwise talk to that wish me a happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, because I've got a random July day, so it's not a natural.
So people are kind of missing the target, but you'll get one at one of the weeks in July being like, oh shit, I must have missed it, but happy birthday. You get those.
I know it's in here.
Yeah. Yeah. I know because I do that to people who have April birthdays. I don't know why it's April. I'm the only one that I remember. And I'm just kind of like, fuck all you guys.
Yeah.
The important one happened on the 1st.
I'm pretty good with the 10 whole birthdays I need to remember, but yeah, there's 2 friends where it's like, I know the month.
Yeah.
I know to within a couple days, I think, but I just don't have it. It's not committed to memory yet, but yeah.
I was thinking on Friday. I'm a big Friday person. I love Friday. We always had Friday traditions growing up. Ours was, well, for the parents, it was called Margarita Night, but the way that they told the children about it, it was pizza night. All I knew was I was getting pizza.
Yeah.
And the grown-ups were real fun.
Yeah.
So we always
we
grew
get to
up
stay up late.
Yeah, Friday night pizza night, and we've continued that with Kendall. We do pizza. I get hammered. No, we do pizza and watch a movie we haven't watched before.
Oh, nice. That's a good call.
A lot of cartoons.
Yeah.
But you have any Friday traditions? Now or in the past?
So definitely not so much growing up as we've talked about. We get a little weird, like go to dad's house and be happier. That's a good Friday tradition. Hunker down. No, for me, for a long time, although I go through phases, especially in the summer, Friday spinning some records because a lot of the time, and don't get me wrong, you get to the middle of summer, sometimes we're a little bit busier, but again, almost 35, social life has slowed down. I got a lot of free Fridays.
Yeah.
And there's also, plenty of opportunities for me to cut out a little early on a Friday, crack a beer. Ashley's not home yet, spin a few records.
Right.
And, it's a great way to decompress. It's a great excuse to listen to some of the enormous collection we've built up.
Right.
But yeah, I like that one a lot. And also it's mindless. It's easy to stop, because if it's like, oh, we're actually going to a baseball game tonight, or we're going to go do karaoke, it's still an easy thing to do for an hour. Spin one record and move on.
It's funny you said that. I know you do that, and I've started doing it whenever I'm like, well, it's Friday and, nothing's happening. I'm like, fuck, put a record on.
And I mean, if you've got something you want to hear, or if you've got something you bought recently, great. But if you don't have ideas, once you've got a collection, you've got a solid little collection, like go to Discogs, use the randomizer. Even if you don't choose that one, it might remind you of some other thing you have.
Yeah,
where you're like,
right.
oh, fuck yeah, I haven't spun that Rolling Stones record in forever. So yeah, that's probably my favorite. I love the idea of watching a new movie, but I think Ashley and I watch more Sunday movies.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
That's a good time to do that. That's kind of how we used to do it too, but race season and football season are almost perfectly opposite.
Yep.
There is an unfortunate overlap at the beginning of football season where race season is still happening. So
right.
Somebody has to be on the iPad. But so it kind of got moved to Fridays. And it's easy. I mean, Katie and Kendall go to bed pretty early. They go to bed like the same time. Sometimes I go to bed with them too. And so it's just like sometimes our night is done at like 9:30.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we often aren't too far behind that. I mean, it's sort of hard when you get to the early sleep schedule to just randomly. It's like if I'm up before 6:15 most days, like I'm not up wildly early, but early enough. So I go to bed 8 or 9 o'clock. I can't just randomly stay up till 1 a.m. very easily. It happens, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be turning in at about 9:30.
During COVID, my Friday tradition was half a bottle of gin, whole bottle of tonic, and music videos on Rando on YouTube.
Yeah, I do love the YouTube music video shuffle. And yeah, I too overindulged in gin in the pandemic, but I had gone through an earlier 6-month stretch of alcoholism, so it was kind of easy. It was just a random one. Just, I'm gonna drink a pint of gin every day for 6 months. Don't know why that happened, but sometimes it gets into more than a pint. But yeah, Gordon's was getting good. But yeah, I just had to process whatever I was processing and then quit. It's hard to be a true alcoholic. It's hard to wake up every day. Yeah, it is work, man.
Every time I'm like, oh fuck, this is like getting bad. You got to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think of the people that I've known that are actual alcoholics. I'm like, okay, well, you're not even close to there, but it's still not a good reason to keep going.
Yeah, like there are times like where it's you look back and you go, oh, I had beers like 4 different times that week. I didn't feel very good. Like I overindulged a bit. Yeah, I got to keep it to 2. You know, my old man was 12 beer a day since the beginning of time.
God.
You know, drinking 2 Heinekens before you leave for work, like having a couple in the car, 6-pack. I mean, I don't think he was drinking that much at work, but then get home and polish off at least 8 more.
He wasn't drinking that much at work. That sentence didn't even register with me until...
Yeah, I mean, who's to say? You know, the man has passed, so with him, he took secrets. But yeah, I don't think he was shit-faced at work, but it's like the classic, you know, he works for 4 hours. He's probably processed those early beers. What does he do at lunch? Grab a few beers. Got to get through the back half of the day. The worst thing I can do while drunk these days is like, oh, I spent what on that card?
For me, it's like I sent a really nice text to that person.
Yeah, exactly. No, these days, especially post-therapy, I'm much more the lovey drunk. It's more like, and admittedly, even my financial choices aren't like that heinous. It's just, you got DoorDash for one person, and then you spent a $45 on a Lennox Lewis card. It's like, yeah, I did. Yeah.
What's your drunk buy right now? If you're drunk and you shop, what is it?
So probably UFC autographs or boxing autographs, but I've got most of what I want. So it's more, and records. That used to be the one where it's like, just put a bunch of stuff on the want list and you're like, I bet on a Friday, this want list is going to shrink, baby. So both of those have slowed down, but yeah, I'd say I'll look at those, and I'll also still look at Blu-ray because I'm tired of getting charged for every goddamn movie I want to watch, especially ones that I watch repeatedly, like Tommy Boy. I don't need to, or Big Lebowski. Yeah. I don't need to rent this. We can own it in hardcore, hard format and play it forever. So, what is yours though?
I'm kind of all over the place. For a while, it was anything Jacob Mizorowski.
Oh, that's a good call. Although I bet that was also competitive. I mean, baseball.
Yeah,
baseball collections.
It cooled off at the end of last season because as his ERA went up, the price went down. I was like, perfect. Yeah, this is his rookie season, guys.
Yeah,
you're being dumb.
Exactly.
But right now I've been buying. I haven't been buying a lot of shit lately, but when I am, I've been buying really nice copies of the books I've been reading. I got drunk and bought a $100 copy of Rubicon, which is just about the fall of the Roman Empire.
Yeah,
it's really fucking nice
when you cross it.
But I was shocked to see I spent $100 on a book.
Yeah, usually it needs to be like autographed or yeah, exactly.
That hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all right. Let's see here. Oh, that kind of was actually a good transition I ruined. I've been doing a lot of reading about history, and because I never paid attention to history before, it's all news to me.
It's Watergate.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, I've noticed that scene in Dumb and Dumber when he sees the moon landing article on the wall. He runs out. We landed on the moon. That's kind of how I've been reading about history. I'm like, oh shit, what? That's fucking crazy.
JFK had a brother and he got shot. What?
Yeah, it's all been very surprising to me.
Yeah.
One thing I learned recently that I thought was pretty funny. Most interesting propaganda I think ever, and I'll personally say, don't think Napoleon was a good guy overall.
But one of those tried to take over the world, guys, and got closer than most.
Complicated character. So when I say propaganda, I don't mean that it was unfair to make him look bad. But he was actually of average height. He was 5'6", which is short now.
Right.
But back then, he was actually
years
slightly above average height. Yeah. And now we're like, yeah, he was just a dick because he was small.
Yeah.
Trying to be a big guy. Yeah.
We named a complex
we gave him a whole complex. And he's like, what? I'm kind of tall.
Yeah.
If he was here now, he'd also probably not really care for me saying this. Who knows what he'd do? Maybe try to enslave me. He brought back slavery. That was another thing I learned. I'm like, brought it back. What are you doing? That's insane.
France went through a little whiplash there for about
You don't get to be holier than
25
thou
years.
about shit if you had a guy bring slavery back. You had already done the right thing and gotten anyway. We don't need to say the S word anymore.
Yeah,
on this show.
we've already nuked our viewership. Yeah. No, but it is France at that time. Like you whiplash from the monarchy. You get the French Revolution in the early 1790s. We whack a lot of people, but we also get like some human rights and also scare the nobility nice and good. But we kill too many people, and because of that, or whiplash to that, and then Napoleon comes in.
Yeah.
And it's time to take over the world. It's like, dude, this all happened in like 15 fucking years. From the start of the French Revolution until the Battle of Waterloo, which was Napoleon's final battle when he was finally defeated by the army of the Sixth Coalition, that was a total of 22 years. Just
Yeah, Napoleon was
wild
in
time
power
in
for
France.
that long.
No, he really wasn't. I mean,
Short fuck.
true, like him truly being the ruler, the emperor of France. Like, I want to say it was 10 years, but I could be wrong about that. Like him truly having the power. His military career is longer than that, but yeah.
Now to the important facts about Napoleon. I'm not 100% certain on this, but I'm almost positive it's him. It also happened to, Lenin? Anyway, after he died, somebody lopped his cock off, put it in a jar, and it's still someplace. Somebody owns it right now.
Classic. How do you auction that? Just a dick in a jar?
Why is penis?
Yeah.
Why is that what you wanted? You could have had any part of him you could have kept.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He could have been packed, but was the 5'6" guy really rocking got like a 13-inch cock on this little guy? It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it must have been fairly impressive if somebody's like, I'm keeping that.
Yeah, it's at least not. It's at least got to be. Well, maybe it's just got to be at some point outside of the normal bell curve. Anything like above 10 and below 3 is.
I guess
noteworthy.
a limb is probably a little hard to cut off and a little too big to store easily.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I guess the same would be true for a dick. Like, I don't know what the preservation and taxidermy is, supposed to be
Right.
like for, please, sir, preserve this cock.
I think I might
Can you
have an ear.
shellac this thing?
I think I might have an ear if it were me. It seems like that'd be a
Ear's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Go a little Van Gogh.
little bit easier to take off. Speaking of height and how people just get taller every generation, how tall do you think people are going to get?
That's a great question. Trying to remember the guy's name. So the tallest person ever was, I believe, Robert Wadlow, and he got to 8'11" and died pretty young. And so nobody's ever hit that. But people across the world, just average heights, that's just who's the tallest, have obviously gone up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some of the Southern African nations that have, excuse me, like average male heights are creeping up to like 6'3", 6'4", like very, very naturally tall folks. So it's a great question. I will say that when I see like a Victor Wembanyama or a Chet Holmgren, who are not the tallest people in the world at all, but I do feel like some of these folks are getting stretched out. They're a little string beanish, and I worry a little bit about like,
Knees?
yeah, like Yao Ming, knees, and also just your general frailty. Like Yao Ming, his ankles went to shit. But as far as being a 7'5" guy, he was a nice beefy 7'5" guy. Like I wasn't worried about him getting like physically, like he wasn't Shaq, but he had
I was gonna
enough.
say doughy, maybe.
Doughy, yes, that's a fair description. But he wasn't physically like thin or frail or anything. Like it didn't seem like he would get crushed in the post by anybody. And some of these guys, like again, Wemby, an amazing athlete, but I want him to like put the Giannis muscle on, where it's like, if people are going to keep getting taller and taller, I implore you, to put some meat on them bones.
I like watching Wemby because he's so big that no matter what he does, you're like, I don't know why, but that's wrong. Like that's not how that's supposed. That doesn't work.
Yeah,
out.
especially because he has like a pretty silky jumper. Because like, of course, 7'3" guy with great movement for that size. Of course, he's going to be a terror under the basket.
Well, and he has to have a different shot because he's literally shooting down on the basket from where he's shooting.
Yeah, he's a fascinating character. But yeah, Now, how much taller will people get? I feel like it's got a plateau. And also from an evolutionary standpoint, I also wonder like what the benefit is for us to continue
That's what
to
I
get
was
taller.
thinking. Like, what are we getting tall about? What,
Yeah.
why are we doing? Is it the supermarket that's keeping this going? Is it these top shelves? Every time we get up on our tippity toes, everybody's like, "Oh fuck, let's tell the next round of us to move it up a notch."
First of all, listen, brother, you're trying to grab backstock off the top shelf. You're not even looking in the right place, man. You don't have to be this tall.
They don't have those Pop-Tarts down here.
But yeah, I would love to know average height of NBA players per position, and I would also love to know average height of boxers per weight class, because with weight classes, obviously you would think there's limitations to, how much you can cut weight, right? Like if you're a certain height, you're going to be minimum a certain weight.
Mm-hmm.
That said, even still in the last 30 years, I feel like I have seen more pretty wild height to weight disparities in guys that are enormous in their weight class than existed 50 plus years ago.
Right.
Where it's like, wow, that guy's 6'5" and he's fighting at 147 pounds.
Right.
That's
I wonder how much these historical height averages are even accurate at all.
That's valid.
Like, we're even in touch with the like kind of smaller people in Asia at that point, or the really tall people.
Oh, you mean as far as
Africa
like
at that
average?
point? Yeah. Had we even located these people yet?
Yeah, I'm sure that some of those old studies are very Eurocentric and not
Mhm.
taking the entire world into
Yeah.
account at all.
That's a nicer way to say it. Mine sounded a little racist. Yours was good. That was
Well,
good.
yours wasn't racist. You were saying you were calling it out for like, we're not focusing on, we don't have that worldwide exposure. And yeah, just naturally studies tend to be
Mhm.
Eurocentric, especially old ones, where it's like, yeah, 150 years ago, would the Philippines have been represented in your height chart? I don't know. It may have been,
Yeah.
but I know how racist old charts can be and old statistical models can be, where it's like, we've got the average height. How'd you figure that out? We measured everyone in Liverpool. Cool. That's the whole world then. All right. Liverpool. Sick.
Oh, you had to meet all of Liverpool? Ugh. Zoinks.
So
Do you ever get accused of being tall?
No, I don't think that I have.
What are you, like,
I've-
6'3"?
No, I'm only 6'1". I've got multiple
No, you
tall
gotta-
friends too.
Well, I'm 6'1" when I stand upright, so I'm 6 foot.
Mm.
But when I'm at the doctor and they make me stand up straight all the way, I'm like a hair under 6'1", so I round up 6'1".
I think
You are definitely taller than me.
well, some of it could be, shoe choices and stuff, but I do think I'm like a clean 6'1", but I also have multiple friends that are nobody's super tall, but I've, my friends Riley and Bobby, they're like 6'4", so there are times where like it's the three of us walking around. It's like, man, I'm not used to being the small guy in the group.
Yeah.
Coming in at 6'1" and 230.
I
I'm a
have
little
only
guy.
met a handful of super tall people in my life. Not met, but like been friends with, and they hated being tall. Not just because like you can't really stand anywhere at a concert that's convenient
Right.
for anybody.
Yeah.
You're always pissing people off. But they hated that was always commented on, which I think would be kind of annoying.
It's always commented
So I would
on.
always comment on it, because
Yeah.
if I have to be fat and have people bring that up, then you have to pay your dues too.
I'm bringing you down to my level.
Yeah, at least yours is cool.
I always think about the HBO did a fantastic Andre the Giant documentary a few years ago, and one of the things that they talked about, because Andre the Giant, despite wrestling having sort of a low ceiling on how famous you can normally get, there are exceptions, and Andre the Giant was an exceptionally famous person for his time.
Him, John Cena.
Yeah, like The Rock,
Mhm.
obviously he broke out into a bigger level of star, but one comment that I always thought about, I'll touch on 2 points, but one, somebody was like, Michael Jordan at the height of his fame, which was probably the most famous person in the world, certainly most famous athlete, maybe behind like Michael Jackson.
I heard at one point he was the most famous person in Japan, and the NBA does not even touch that content.
Yeah, not
Crazy.
especially not in the 90s. Yeah. But that, Michael Jordan in theory is a 6'6" guy, could put on a baseball hat and maybe go into a dive bar and have a few beers with his buddies and maybe not get noticed. Like, would you would somebody probably recognize him on a long enough timeline? Yeah, but it's like plausible.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're Andre the Giant,
Yeah.
there's no way out,
Yeah.
man.
Mhm.
There's no, you are so visibly you that there's just absolutely, you're too big to ever get out of the spotlight.
Might as well be Michael Jackson.
That's and one other thing too, and obviously Andre's a special case, but the world's simply not made for you. Like, nothing in the world is made for a person of your size. Now, with Andre the Giant, because he was both tall and also enormous, even when he was in really good shape, the guy naturally weighed like 380 pounds or something. There's not a toilet in the world that could hold up that ass. He had to shit in the bathtub, and like stuff that's basically dehumanizing.
That's
because there's like, the
insane.
world is not built for you.
One time he farted so bad they had to land the plane. Yeah, I mean, his stomach wasn't made for him. Apparently, it's like he was known for his obscene flatulence, but yeah,
Well,
you look at the stuff he was eating,
and he
drinking.
was an alcoholic, even by his size. Like, not like, oh, he drank 20 beers a night. Like, well, for a guy of his size, that wouldn't matter. No, he drank 100 beers a night. He was a true alcoholic, even for that size.
Yeah,
So, I mean, just look at the size of beer can in his hands and the size of his head. You could probably just naturally slam an entire 12-ounce beer because the size of his fucking melon.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you
One
have
sip
the...
is 12 ounces.
Exactly. Yeah. Me, I got to work on this. But because of that, and also just the life of a wrestler and there's a confluence of things that make it so that he might have had the craziest farts of all time.
Yeah,
I've told my friends for years I would love the afterlife to be the infinite Google search where I can just be like, dude, like,
whose farts are the craziest?
yeah. And it's like Andre the Giant's number 3. It's like, who are the top 2?
Terrare.
Oh my God. Right? You're probably right,
Yeah.
dude. Terrare probably is the guy. Oh, man.
Or who knows? Maybe
'Cause-
there's somebody in unrecorded history,
Well, but see, it's God. He's got all the records. See, for us, it's like, I got to speculate on an earthquake from 1700. All this stuff's a mystery to me, but this is God.
Yeah.
God, you can tell me how.
Show me the biggest hammer you ever made. Let's see this guy. Trot him out here.
Was he John Holmes? John Holmes is 12. There's 11 guys ahead of him.
Actually, I'll say this. Whoever had the biggest hog is probably in hell.
I think whoever had the biggest hog was probably kind of miserable because I feel like there's not a lot of folks, men or women, that can take that sort of action.
Good point. You're left to couches like JD Vance.
Yeah, you gotta graduate. You gotta move up to something larger acts here.
One thing I wanted to, whichever Kim Jong it is now, he was obsessed with the Bulls when he was a kid. And remember when he
rightfully
had
so.
Dennis Rodman
Oh
come
yeah,
visit him?
yeah.
First person he asked was Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan said, fuck no.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that because Dennis Rodman has also got a relationship with Donald Trump, and it's kind of fascinating that he is a legitimate conduit between these two nations. Like, I'm not trying to overstate Dennis Rodman. I'm not trying to overstate the worm's value in international diplomacy, but he does have real value, which is insane.
To me, he's strange in so many different ways. I can't believe he's not in jail. I know being strange is not a reason to put somebody in jail, but when you have that, when you're that, give me a word here.
Erratic.
Yeah, it just seems like you'd be like, fuck laws. Like you would not adhere to that construct at all.
I knew a guy that partied with him a few times, and for a stretch there, he was basically living in a big place, almost no furniture, and a bunch of people coming over and partying. And Rodman, by this guy's account, was not really a participant in the chicanery and the drug use, whatever, but it's all happening on his property.
He just liked the chaos around him.
Exactly. He wanted people around him because it's no secret that he had a pretty challenging childhood and really seeking acceptance as as a young man. I'm not surprised that he found
I don't think he's
comfort.
worried about acceptance anymore.
No, I mean, he's in the fucking Hall of Fame. Like, he's the worm. Shit. Like, but still, does he have trouble with some of those interpersonal connections? I don't doubt it. And so, yeah, I do think he liked that being around him. But to your point, when you're living kind of crazy, you just get hemmed up in shit. Like, oh, these people were just at my house doing shit. Well, you're Dennis Rodman and you're rich and you're black and this is a police department. And so we're about to fuck you up. We're about to launch you a bunch of charges at you.
He's one of my favorite sports personalities ever. Mike Tyson is another one. You got any other favorites?
Oh God, Tyson's a tough one. Favorite personalities?
Especially like, here's a personality. I mean, obviously all the stuff off the court.
Right.
But just out there, you're like, that's different, man. This is a different guy.
I remember him coming out one time with a bullseye. Because he always had different hair, and his hair one time was just a bullseye. It was like bleached hair with just the red circles. And I was, this guy likes awesome.
Target.
This guy's getting 18 boards a game. My God. I will say this, and these guys are in some ways culturally retrograde and stupid, but the Diaz brothers, for the fight game, from a personality perspective, I really enjoyed what they brought because they're kids from Stockton. The Gracies who invented jiu-jitsu, Caesar ran a gym down there and would basically give them food to come train with him and get them off the streets. But they're from Stockton, one of the more violent, dangerous places in California. And it's like, you know, some people, you see it in football, you see it in boxing, you see it in a lot of sports where there's a lot of machismo and tough guy bullshit where people pretend to be something they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Pretend to be...
False bravado.
Exactly. And gangbanger is not an uncommon one, you know, criminal, that sort of a thing. And those guys, I'm not describing them that way.
John Moran.
But they are, and the very white person, those guys are fucking gangster. Like, beating the shit out of Jason Mayhem Miller and, like, throwing up gang signs on the way out of the arena on CBS. Like, they got Gus Johnson in the fray. Like, dude, get Gus Johnson out of there. You got to keep him safe. So those guys, I will just say, in a sport where there's so much blowfish, peacock type attitude, people putting on a lot of bullshit, it's kind of refreshing to see, like, two kind of skinny guys that just grew up fighting continue to be really good at fighting and often beat guys that looked physically more imposing.
Yeah. And,
you know, probably had better mic skills, but the Diaz brother, they grew up doing this shit. It's like you're in their world now. So yeah, personality, again, not guys I would probably want to hang out with for super long, or that I should say would even want to hang out with me, but personality-wise brought a lot to the table.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be my choice, just that I think of offhand, because so many other sports, with team sports, you don't always get to see personality shine so much. With individual sports, you get to see it a little bit more, just because of the nature of the promotion and everything like that.
My big three: Shaq, Brett Favre, Randy Johnson, in that order.
Yeah. Those are real good. Shaq is a number one, I think, is outstanding because
well, also off the court, Shaq just rules. Like,
he's great,
elite level person. If we ever need to, like, the aliens come down, we have to send one representative. Let's send Shaq.
Shaq, he'll make friends.
Yeah,
he'll make
exactly.
friends.
He'll make things right. However we've wronged the aliens.
Two things I love about Shaq: one of the absolute best locker room interviews of all time, any sport. Always cracking jokes, always likable, giving himself nicknames which were legitimately sometimes funny.
Yeah.
The Big Aristotle. The Big Shamrock. Like, a lot of them were just The Big or The Big Blank or had Shaq somewhere infused in the name.
Big Diesel was fucking sick.
Yeah, that's a great nickname. But that guy probably has more legitimately great nicknames, both from himself and from other people, than any athlete in history.
What do you do after you've already peaked at Shaq?
Yeah, right. I mean, how many people are known by a mononym?
Elvis,
Prince.
Shaq. Yeah.
You know, this is a short list of people where you can just go, oh yeah, that's who I'm talking about. Yeah. So yeah, that's an outstanding one there. Brett.
Fuck the guy. But, I mean, whenever his highlights come on, I still watch. I'm just like, God damn. Like, I was lucky. I don't know if I even would have gotten into sports if it wasn't for Brett Favre at all. Like, that guy sucked me into sports, just watching him play. That guy was having fun.
Right. Yeah.
Randy Johnson was a rock star. Like, I can't think of another way to put it.
He was a little too surly for me. I love the guy, but as far as favorite personalities, big old grump.
Yeah,
Big
I don't
grumpy
know
guy.
if I would have. I don't remember his prime super well, at least with the Mariners. But yeah, looking back on it, him being so grumpy is funny. Also, I met him and he was very nice to me, and so I'm just like, Randy
Yeah.
being Randy, because I had
Yeah.
my good experience. He couldn't possibly be a bad guy.
Well, I mean, and look, like I'm a Cardinals fan. Who's our maybe most beloved player in franchise history, even with Stan Musial? It might be Bob Gibson, the angriest guy maybe to ever step on a mound.
Yeah.
Like certainly up there. So,
Angry driver too.
oh yeah, he'll chase you down. And that was the thing, is that's really who that guy was.
Mhm.
It wasn't an act. It wasn't this, Bob Gibson will chase you down 4 miles on the freeway.
Authenticity
Try
is
to
important, I think, is how we're boiling this down.
Yeah, being the actual tough guy
Mhm.
really, really matters, I think. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I would throw out there just before we move on. But those are really, I think those are the big ones. I will say one guy that I really liked in terms of personality he brought, change of style, and shattering of expectations, Ichiro.
Yeah,
Ichiro, super cool guy.
I was pretty
oddly funny.
resistant to it myself for a while. I couldn't even understand the mechanics. It made no sense.
It also made it that much harder. It would have been hard in any era, but he showed up in the steroid era. The season he showed up, Barry
Good
Bonds
point.
hit 73 home runs. Like,
Good
that was
point.
2001. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be weird anytime. Nobody's ever played that way before or since. But when guys like Greg Vaughn or Brady Anderson are hitting 50 home runs, Luis Gonzalez, who I love, but he's hitting 57. Shit's fucking weird out here. And so having a guy that's just slapping, I think I told you, but have you ever heard the story of when Lou Piniella first had Ichiro doing batting practice and he kept slapping these basically grounders and singles the other way?
Mm.
And to the untrained eye, well, even to the trained eye, to Lou Piniella, it looked like he was getting beat by the pitching machine, consistently late to the ball. And Lou is like, is that all you can do, is hit like soft bloopers to the left side of the field? And Ichiro goes, I can also hit it really hard to the right side of the field. And Lou is just a grump. He's like, well, fucking do that then. But of course, over the course of a season, you go, all right, I'm starting to understand how this whole thing
Yeah.
works.
All right, let's see what's next here.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Looking at where we started, we got off into a very different tangent there. That started with being tall. Spaghetti with meatballs or spaghetti with meat sauce?
Great question. Great question. Both are amazing. So you really, clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. I will say this, and I think the same thing can apply to a chopped sandwich versus a regular sandwich, because I understand both sides of it. You go meat sauce, you get more even coverage. You get more consistent meat delineation, and also just like growing up, Mike, didn't always have a ton of money, but he was always good about making dinner, and spaghetti's a great, easy dinner to make for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But making meatballs is like a pain in the ass. You just throw the pound of ground beef in there, throw some garlic in, like chop
Right.
it up. You don't have to worry about all that shit. So from a personal upbringing perspective and all of that, would go spaghetti and meat sauce. But God, a nice big old meatball is so much
Yeah.
fun. And also with the meatball, you can really, of course, you can season your meat however you want, but it's really nice with the meatball because the sauce doesn't always penetrate to the center, so it
Mhm.
feels untouched and it tastes different.
Right.
So I think there's a lot to love here. Again, can't really go wrong.
I
What
agree.
would you choose?
Meatballs are fun. I
Yeah.
enjoy meatballs. I'm very pro meatball,
Yeah.
but I think the correct answer in my answer is meat sauce.
Yeah.
Every time I make it, it's definitely meat sauce.
Yeah, exactly. The meatballs are really they're a hoot, and I do like when somebody makes the really big, like goofy, like cartoon meatballs where it's like you get a plate of spaghetti and you get like 2 meatballs, but they're like the size of a softball, and you're like, this is awesome. This looks like a cartoon dinner.
Yeah, this wasn't convenient for you at all. I know.
No, because you gotta. I mean, when you make a meatball that
Committing to the
big,
bit.
right, and with my food, I love it.
Okay.
All
Let's skip headlines because I could have done better with that this week. And let's just go When in Rome. This is a fun one. Mappa. It is the dropping of a white flag, which turned into the flag that starts races. For example, comes from ancient Rome, and the games were about as popular as I would equate it to soccer in Europe. Kind of the only show in town, and so people everybody was into it. Yeah. It was like the whole population, that's the thing they care about. It was really that or the theater, and I'm going to shoehorn in a word here that I said I was going to start using more. The atmosphere at the theater was very, most of the plays were about sex, so it was very louche.
Oh, there we go.
Atmosphere. Finally worked that word in. Yeah. Very naturally. But the games, I guess, like, people would like work themselves into a frenzy. It was not uncommon for people to leave naked because they would literally like strip off their clothes and throw them and start fights and just go crazy. People love the games.
Raiders fans.
But it started during the reign of Nero. I guess they had to wait for the emperor to start the games, and Nero was taking his time with his lunch, and people were getting rowdy and pissed off that the games weren't happening. And so once Nero finally finished his lunch, he threw his napkin out of his booth to signal that they could start. And that's where that comes from. So if you watch a race now, just seeing that white flag, that's where that started. Nero eating lunch.
That means that Dale has finished his sandwich in heaven.
Yeah.
You're free to move forward.
Yeah.
Or no, not sandwich, barbecue, probably.
Yeah.
Barbecue
sandwich.
Yeah. Or Richard Petty, who's still with us, has finished his actual very real sandwich in the stands.
Okay, Gucci or Greasy, referring to your friends as your tribe.
Greasy. I don't think in the history of the podcast, which at this point 70 episodes, I think that I have hemmed and hawed on basically everything, and very rarely have I given an immediate answer. Greasy.
It makes me so mad every time I hear it. I'm like, fuck you.
Just tribe? Okay. I mean, think about, so
the term Friendsgiving has always annoyed me. I know it's not fair. It's cute enough, whatever. It's kind of like people saying fry yay, which also annoys me.
Well, Friendsgiving's at least a thing people know what it is. Oh, you're doing a Thanksgiving thing with friends. It's got like cultural cachet.
Yeah, I can get past it. When I literally don't. There's one person who invited me to a tribe dinner, which was just him having all his friends over. I don't talk to him anymore.
My tribe, I don't know what that means. And I don't ever want to, it's like what we've talked about, like, I think that it's cool to turn an animal or a profession into a mascot. When you choose people, that's when things get weird. Like, what about the Fighting Irish? Yeah, if I was creating a school in the 21st century, I would not go with the fucking Fighting Irish.
And if the Irish could sober up, I think they'd be pretty pissed off.
They're too busy circling over Shannon. No, but tribe, like, there's a weird, like, if you're talking about indigenous peoples connotation, if you're talking about ancient peoples connotation, regardless, it's not accurate. You don't have a fucking tribe. What are you talking about? Yeah. I also don't know if people mean their family or their friends or both. I would think tribe includes both, but I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because what? Because what? Yeah, I'm going Greasy. And it's funny, too, because what have I advocated for multiple times? Get creative with your language, have fun with it. We're all going to die, You can refer to your friends as your pals or your buddies or your homies or whatever, get fun with it.
Yeah.
Tribe does not work for me.
Yeah.
You fall into the wrong bucket on this one. Just does not work for me.
I have nothing nice to add, so we're going to go with Cole's answer, and I'm going to put my stamp of approval on that. I'll put the ditto stamp on that.
The rare, immediate Greasy.
I kind of just wanted to hear you talk about it, if I'm being honest.
When I saw that, too, I was like, great question, Chris. I wasn't going to text you about it because I was like, we've got, I want to save it for the show, but God.
Okay, Wikipedia, Cole.
All right, we're going to talk about, this week we're talking about sex in space. And so this is a funny one.
This is good because, we're going to the moon?
Yeah. Very exciting. I'm genuinely excited for that.
Moon.
Yeah, right. What's old is new again. But sex in space. So I think you can gather what this is about. This isn't an abstract, name of somebody. Obviously, we're talking about doing the nasty in weightlessness. So
That seems like it would make thrusting hard.
this is all important, right? I think when people first started, and the Wikipedia article does get into this, when it was first discussed, it was more discussed as like a lark, right? Before space travel really had taken, it'd be like, wouldn't that be a silly thing?
Yeah.
But as people talk about, potentially colonizing other planets, which I think we're still many years from, but like say we wanted to try to build a colony on the moon, not an impossible premise, many, many challenges, but on a long enough timeline, could you have like an international space station on the moon, basically, that people could live in for short periods of time? Hard, but not impossible. When you start talking about colonizing a planet, now you're talking about how do you sustain the population there? And that's where sex in space went from being kind of a silly, jokey conversation of like sci-fi writers to now being a real concept.
I'm thinking of people in space shuttles, and it just seems like a logistical nightmare.
For sure. No, it absolutely is.
Because just getting your, when you really get into it with a person, very passionate, get your clothes off in a hurry. I don't think that's as easy in those suits.
No.
Not sure how much Velcro and probably zippers, buttons, every obstacle.
I'm so glad you brought up Velcro. That's gonna play a factor into this later, and probably not in the way that you expect. So I'm just going through the overview question because the sex in space question really gets down to also pregnancy in space, right? The ability to sustain, because the human need or desire to have sex is one thing. Need to procreate to sustain colony is an entirely different conversation. So I'll start with the physiological issues because I think that's a fun one. So there are numerous physiological changes that have been noted during space flight. Notably, circulation and the flow of blood within the body is like the biggest kind of change in physical reaction to your environment as far as sex goes. So again, you're floating around. Studies conducted on rats revealed that although the fetus developed properly once exposed to normal gravity, rats raised in microgravity lacked the ability to right themselves. They didn't know how to reposition. They just kind of
just whipping around.
Just whipping around, dude. Just no idea. Just a poor rat. And it sucks too, because rats are smarter than we give them credit for. But this poor guy is just like, I've never learned.
No, fuck rats. I'm all right with this.
So we're getting into the Velcro. In 2006, American novelist Vanna Bonta invented the two suit, a garment designed to facilitate sex in weightless environments such as outer space or on planets with low gravity. It was made of a lightweight fabric with a Velcro-lined exterior, which would enable two people to securely embrace.
Yeah.
So you know that old Letterman bit?
But what if you aim wrong? Like, what if you...
Yeah, like my elbow's stuck to your thigh, and like we're in... now I'm trying to disconnect, but I'm entirely Velcro, so I use my hand to push off, and now my hand's like stuck to your ass, and... Look, buddy, I'm just going to eat ass, and we're going to move on.
Again, that's basically one thrust, though, which is...
You're
stuck. You're just in. There's no...
So functionality testing was conducted in 2008 by Bonta aboard G-Force One, a low-gravity simulator. It took 8 attempts for the two test participants, Bonta and her husband, to embrace one another. According to science author Mark Thompson, the two-suit was cumbersome but moderately successful, and it is not clear whether or not it will have practical value for future...
these guys are just trying to get fucked on the clock.
Right? What a good way to get paid.
Yeah.
It's like getting paid for the What I Did Last Summer article. Planned attempts, though. So history of attempts. NASA, first of all, has stated it knows of no intercourse in space. So nobody's going to fess up about trying to fuck on the space station, but I've got doubts.
They covered up the camera.
Pornhub planned to do this, but they needed to raise $3.4 million in 60 days. The crowdfunding campaign didn't quite get there, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, come on, people.
Adult film actress Coco Brown had begun certifying for a co-pilot seat in the X-Corps Lynx spaceplane, which would have launched in suborbital flight in 2016. Spent a short amount of time in zero gravity. However, X-Corps Aerospace declared bankruptcy before this could happen. Short of actual space, the adult entertainment production company Private Media Group, which, by the way, what a fucking communist at Private Media Group. What are we going to drink? Orange drink next? Like, where's the branding on this?
Tang in space.
Private. That was... it's an episode title. It's Tang in space. I don't mean to interrupt, but in space it's Tang, brother. That was a good one. Private Media Group.
Speaking of Tang.
Nice. Pootie Tang. Private Media Group has filmed a movie called The Uranus Experiment, or I should say Uranus.
There we go.
Part 2, where it ties up all the loose ends from Part 1, first of all, where an actual zero gravity intercourse scene was accomplished with a reduced gravity aircraft. Budget constraints allowed for only one 20-second shot featuring the actors Sylvia Saint and Nick Lang. So, more like Nick Tang. Am I right?
Man, he better been hard on time.
I will also say that a couple of weeks ago, this one ended up being timely because like last year I put this on our list, but Daily Show actually had a segment with space sexology researchers. They presented a replica of the 2 suit and then they recreated So if you want to see how this works, Daily Show literally February 24th, so less than a month ago.
It has to only be Velcro from the waist up. That's the only way it could possibly fucking work.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
But even that, because my top part moves a little bit when the bottom part goes. So it still seems
not
and
great.
you'd probably have to link up the bottom part first, right? And then just kind of fold together and make sure you get it. I don't know. It just doesn't seem...
Yeah,
seem
fucking's got to
practical.
be a little bit more. This is too rigid.
Where's the cranking in space one? Because I'm sure there's been plenty of that. Don't even bother with the towel. Just shoot it right up and collect it.
It's okay, I'm going to just ask the one of my This Week in History questions and we'll close up since
right.
we're close to the end here. So we've actually talked about this topic before, but not in a positive light. We've only shit on it. April 6, 1973, the American League begins using the designated hitter, which you and I have bitched about before.
Yeah.
But we've never talked about who's your all-time fave.
It's obviously Edgar, right?
I think Edgar, us being Seattleites, it's the only...
All right, so we got to put Edgar aside.
Yeah, we'll put Edgar aside.
It's got to be Poppy, right?
Is it really one of these lists where it's like there's
It's
only...
2 guys.
It's...
Yeah.
Okay, let me name a couple more.
Travis Hafner.
That's a good one. I'm going to go late career Paul Molitor.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because he was still...
I'm going to go for Molly every time.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, nobody would think of Molly as a DH. But I think he actually played DH for like 6 seasons or something. It was a decent...
Fair answer.
And then one other... So I feel like a lot of DHs, now that we've covered the 2 true, like lifelong kind of DHs, it's a lot of guys that used to play and then switched over. I will say 2 guys that are Hall of Famers that played in the field but played a lot of DH who I love. Frank Thomas, Jim Thome.
Yeah.
Also, Adam Dunn was pretty sexy too, even if he struck out more
Who's
than
your
like
favorite
anybody.
right now? Jordan Alvarez is my answer. Big fat crush on Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah, that's got to be it. That's got to be, because who else? He's like the only other guy that's like a tried and true, like guaranteed. Like, who's the DH for the Mariners? Who's the DH for the Cardinals? We just rotate. Like, I don't think that either team.
Whoever needs an off day.
Yeah, like Cal Raleigh
still
plays
need their
DH
bat.
sometimes. Yeah, like, but obviously Gar and Poppy, that's a different enterprise.
Very, very pro Edgar.
Yeah, I was so happy when he got into the Hall.
Yeah, same here.
But
all right, well, we talked a lot about sports. We talked about penises multiple times. I think 3 different segments we talked about dongs. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it's rare.
It is. It's good stuff. It's good. It's good when it's just you and me sometimes. I love when we have guests. We're going to have Mr. Harkins next episode.
Woo!
So excited about that. You guys can find us Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the places. Please give us a follow. Jordan Leviel, Bucks and Six.